Okay, so you should see my screen right now, and what we're going to be talking about today is the situation where we rely our browser stored passwords on data protection API, so effectively on your password, yes, in short words. So what do I have over here? It's a Chrome Pass. It's one of the tools that you can download from Nearsoft, and I've got Chrome in this particular machine. This is Windows 10, and I'm able to display password of the user that is currently logged on. This is a very obvious situation because this is me being logged on. That's why I'm able to see my own password. So it's absolutely not a big deal because I have access to them anyway. So regardless of the tools that you are using, if you are able to extract passwords from the certain browsers or also Outlook, etc., then this is very obvious because these are your passwords that you are able to use anyway. Now, the party starts when you are wondering who else may have access to those passwords. And of course, we've been talking about cache logon data and the keys or key that is stored in the domain controller's memory that is capable of decrypting such. So let's have a look at how that whole situation looks like. What are the scenarios that I just mentioned that could affect our password security? First of all, if you give away your password, someone manages to crack it as well, then this person will be able to get access to your passwords that you store in the browser. Okay, so what would be our scenario? Our scenario will be like this: that we will, just to clarify the view, reboot this particular machine from the Windows installation media. And the reason why is because that will simplify the whole scenario. What I will do, I'm going to override cache logon data that is stored in the registry. So let's do it. I got another machine in the back as well. And in this particular case, what we will do, we will find out if the password is, for example, changed illegally. Is there a way at the end to be able to get access to our credentials and at the same time, or eventually passwords stored in the browser, yeah, in general. So here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna switch off the network so that we are logging on with the cache logon data, and that will be the moment where we will have no access to the domain controller, so we will be only logging on with the data that I will set up in the registry. So that will be the plan. So right now we are rebooting. It takes a little moment, but here we are. And we will turn on the console in order to be able to have offline access to the particular machine. Now I have to mention one thing, that this can be done also if you are not having an offline access to the machine. Yes, but if you are privileged enough to perform these operations online. So advanced options, command prompt, and then we're ready. So I'm gonna quickly change the font. That's something that I have no impact on, so that would be a little bit better for all of us. I'm gonna get into the place where I've got the tools, CQURE tools, and I've got here Kiwi Secure Edition, and I've got Mimikatz. What I'm gonna do, it's LSA dump cache, and then I will specify, of course, two registry hives that are impacting how credentials that are cached or cache logon data, as we should say, is stored. So basically we're going to do with the Windows system32 config system d Windows system32 config security. I have no possibility to stop if you're wondering here, and with the switch Kiwi to override cache logon data. Okay, so enter, and I got plenty of different accounts that logged on before into this machine, including Freddy Krueger, which we're going to be using. So now I'm done. I can go continue, and that will be the moment where we're going to be impacting security of the passwords stored in the browser. You will be able to see if we are, by changing password like that, capable of getting access to the user's password. So right now I want to log on with my passwords that I had before. So this is this one. Nope, password is incorrect. So I'm going to log on with the password that we have actually generated right now, which is Mimikas. Please have a look, it's not a local account, it's a domain account. That's why it's a little bit better. By the way, our team did extremely huge research over here within the data protection API, and as far as I know, we are the first team in the world and the last team at the same time that discovered a couple of interesting things here. And let me of course mention what probably you are interested if we are able to see the password. So when I try to open things like this, it takes a little moment, because what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to decrypt master keys within the data protection API so that I'm able to get access to the password, but none of those can be decrypted with my current password, and that's why this password, it's basically empty over here. So if you ever wondered, are my passwords safe when stored in a browser? Well, it again still depends on the implementation of the data protection API within the browser, like how the browser leverages it and so on. But in most cases, answer will be yes, because your passwords depend on your password. Now, probably I would not be there if there would be everything perfect, obviously. Is there still a way to get access to this password? Yes. If you've got a key that you can extract from the domain controller's memory, which we call a backup key. It's a private key that is used for encrypting master keys. Let me show you where to find it. If I go to %app data %, it's in Microsoft Protect and in the user SID. There is this BK CQURE, and that BK CQURE, it's the public key of the domain that encrypts master keys within the master key containers. So whoever has access to the private key that corresponds with this public key, this person is also able to decrypt this data. But that is definitely a subject for the next video. Hopefully this was interesting for you. Summarizing, of course, if we rely our passwords that are stored in the browser on the data protection API, it depends on the implementation, how and if they are secure. But please don't forget that if you got a machine that is a member of the domain, then someone who possesses the private key of the domain is always capable to decrypt your secrets if you rely them on the data protection API. Data protection API isn't bad, but if you are thinking about storing passwords in the browser, I would choose the other way. So summarizing what we just said over here, we've got the possibilities to store the passwords in the browser. Is it safe? Well, it depends on how things were implemented in particular browser. If we rely on a data protection API, then don't forget that these passwords rely on your password for Windows logon. But also, if your machine is a member of the domain, then whoever possesses a private key corresponding to this here public key that encrypts master keys, then this person will always have access to your secrets that have been protected by using data protection API. So for example, storing passwords in some of the browsers could result in them being revealed by the person who is in a possession of the private key of the domain. So that's why, concluding, if you are wondering what is the best approach over here, well, I would say that the best would be to use password manager, to which you only have to remember one password. You don't have to use passwords within the browsers being stored over there when you are moving in between websites that require that, because that kind of software always provides you the possibility to autocomplete the password if there is a need for that. So this is a little bit of a summary. As I said, in the next video we'll be also discussing the way how we are able to extract the private key from the domain controller's memory in order to be able to get access to people's secrets. That will be a very juicy video.